you very much, Valerie. And now the last presenters are Maria Domoslawska, VP Insight at Ericsson, and Zee Ahmad, Global Head of Strategy at Axonix.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Domoslawska. I'm from Ericsson Emodo.
And I'm Zee from Axonix.
The aim for today's session is to bring the ICOM community a little bit closer towards the carriers. Talk a little bit about the experience we have with the data that brings more accountability and transparency in Programmatic. But also, since Emodo is part of Ericsson, yes, that big Ericsson from Stockholm that has 140 years of history in telegraph, telephone, and mobile devices, we want to give you a glimpse into 5G and the couple implications to leave you with how 5G is actually going to change our jobs in the next couple of years. So we talked about the media versus data, the audits. There's a lot of post-verification going on, and we talked about it yesterday and just now. Emodo also entered with carrier data in the last couple of years with location verification. And there were two very clear learnings from it. Number one, the industry pretty much told us if you want to be a verifier, you need to go through MRC accreditation, and that's what we are doing currently and hopefully inches away from completing. But the second big finding was no one actually wanted to be presented with a problem. And if you have a problem, they want to have a solution. So we created a solution, which is a pre-bid algorithm, which actually we submitted for the Creativity Awards, which in real time evaluates and scores the programmatic inventory quality. So what is data, carrier data, and how to think about it? And the easiest way is to kind of, with the data science, is to try to visualize this. So if you think about SDK data and all the data that you have in a space, you get about 100 to 100 pings per user per day. And you get a pretty good picture, like on the left-hand side, a good silhouette of what's going on, the customer touch points. So how to explain the carrier data, which is one of the largest unbiased, without a blind spots, database of movement and device usage. Your phone wouldn't work if it wasn't connected to the cell tower. So we have the full understanding, the complete picture of the different points, gives you the color and gives you the depth and gives you the time.
As Maria says, the Telco Data Foundation really helps complete the picture around mobile users. However, the reality is that today, despite the multi-billion investments from certain companies, telcos and carrier datas, are very much kind of not a central hub of the data flow. A lot of data flow is centered around SDK, developing IoT trends, and this data is the data that's being fed into the ecosystem, and mobile data, still has fantastic potential to really play a larger part of this. At Axonix, for 5-6 years, we've been kind of working around, working with telcos to unlock the power of carrier data. We've had some notable achievements. We were one of the first businesses to help telcos launch deterministic ad campaigns within the programmatic ecosystem through PMPs. And we also launched probabilistic products that were decoupled from media to get greater scale and reach. However, our journey, a bit like this clicker, has not been, without its kind of pain points. So one of the things we found was before GDPR, telco data has always been kind of subject to its own, in the UK Telecommunications Act and what have you. And as such, first-party telco data is not the most ingestible sort of source of data. For example, when we run our programmatic campaigns, our deterministic campaigns, we would have to substitute out advertising IDs, replace them with non-persistent Axonix IDs, and that wouldn't kind of work with an agency that's looking to take control and take first-party data into its own kind of platforms. With our probabilistic products, we found good scale, good sort of monetization strategies. However, we didn't have, and the telcos and the operating partners did not have the control needed to really, understand how the data is actually being used. There's also kind of a fractious approach, rightly so. There's different regional privacy requirements, and different operators will allow you to ingest data in kind of a variety. You need to develop data in a variety of different ways, which means in terms of building a technology or algorithm or any solution to scale telco data, it's pretty hard, because you can't develop one single kind of technology to deliver audiences, which kind of led us to believe and think around how we actually position telco data. Should it be a fantastic audience source, or should it be a verification kind of metric that helps accuracy and precision within sort of the mobile space? So what we developed, and we're excited to be working on with Ericsson, is the exchange ecosystem, and using telco data, carrier intelligence to fuel some of the great machine learning and neural network systems and algorithms at a pre-bid level. So what we do is we use our algorithms to filter for things such as location, validity, age and gender, supply types, and at source we will filter out supply based on whether these these components sit within our sort of verification levels, so that it engenders confidence in the bid stream, and users can buy this through traditional RTB metrics such as deal IDs, data objects, and even the metric objects. In terms of how this works, for operators, it provides them with a really interesting solution in how they can bring carrier data into the market. For advertisers, they're willing to pay more as they're more confident in the bid stream data, and it engenders confidence and trust. And then likewise, we see publishers also taking advantage of this through higher yields that they can see.
And for advertisers, when we ran the test, obviously some verticals came out stronger and pulled more value from the pre-bid than others. An example is retail versus telecom. They were willing to pay a higher eCPM because the win rate was higher, and simply because the retail is more focused on the locations. So we were able to verify if the location and visits to the location actually had any impact. And the ROI showed that in a group one on the left-hand, on your left, the top, it's had a higher rates for the exposed group with the pre-bid versus none. And then lastly, the cost per visit. When we compare the segments, that's the first segment with the pre-bid algorithm build against segments, they were the same, but from an open exchange, the efficiency was just there. So living with that, we want to transition now to the 5G. It's not just the other G. You heard a lot of hype, and we kind of hope that in the next 2 minutes we will demystify the hype and talk about the implication this has for us. So, two simple concepts. Anything that can be connected will be connected. And the IoT that's been around, and we have the technology and hasn't been really in a full capacity, it will be connected by 5G. Not just your phone, your watch, but your fridge, your car, the road signs, the clothing, and the credit card terminal. Everything will be in the middle, and the carrier actually will be the hub.
5G will kind of really position operators as the kind of connecting tissue between, all this proliferation of devices, making sense of that data, and making that available to the marketing ecosystem. We will see a seismic change in how data flows. There will be less, if any, sort of reluctance on Wi-Fi. We will really sort of see a transformational change in how all this devices, its intelligence is, taken to the carrier and then sort of pushed out to the marketing ecosystem.
So it's not going to be just about the speed, but things for ad industry, what's really important for ad serving, the latency is going to be gone. The ads are going to upload really quickly. The video will play with you being on the high-speed trains. For marketers, this is presenting you with much more of customer touch points. For data science, actually, you're going to have the data that will pretty much be able to predict anything. We've seen phenomenal examples at this conference about predictability of the data, what they can do. Well, this is kind of going to be almost like on steroids. So hopefully with the 5G and the carrier, we leave you with some food for thought. And because the change and the engagement for the consumer, it's just going to be completely different, and it's right around the corner. Thank you.
Thank you.